Hey, this is Mark Woodruff at Woody Creative, and what we're going to do is kind of chronicle, kind of teach and also sort of chronicle some of the functionality that we're creating to allow for multiple locations. We've been just like Travis area coaches, and now we're expanding to WACO and some other places. So we're going to jump around, and you have to kind of forgive us for that, but kind of starting on this page, this is a slightly redesigned individual coach page. And one of the first things that we have here is showing the ability with a plugin. It's called Google WP Maps, I think, that lets us sort of draw a radius around an area that we can pick in miles or whatever that says you can control and drag this around. You can make one of these kind of for each player, but what you probably should do is say, for the WACO area, but like, I mean, for example, if somebody lives out here in Valley Mills, well, yeah, you'd make a separate one and call it Valley Mills and just determine how far this particular individual wants to travel. But obviously you can use this same map radius, like if that were Austin, and you would have a different one for the Lake Travis area, and you probably have a different one for the Westlake area, because some coaches would not want to travel to one or the other. Some people wouldn't want to go all the way to South Austin or North Waco, whatever. So you won't have one of these per player, but you'll have one of these for however big you want the region to be. But the idea here is making sure that if somebody comes and gets to this individual coach page, that we really lock in, like, is this, do you take 5 seconds to ensure the meeting location is within this coach's general travel radius? It's just a quick thing that we can put a little plug in and say, this coach serves this area. Because we're expanding, and we have, you'll see like some new functionality in here for the locations, and same thing for Austin and Waco. So there's some drop down things. So anyway, we're going to jump around here. So the first thing is that when we're talking, this is Bookly functionality here. When you see this stuff, when you see this type of functionality, that's specifically Bookly. And I'm going to show you the back end of this particular page is this, and this over here, these categories are not Bookly. So that's important to note that when we create a coach page, here's the image of that coach. Here's the if I open that up, you'll see the Bookly code, and actually I'll kind of go through how that code is done. Let's do that right now. To create the code for this the Bookly code for this coach, it's this Bookly form here, and what we're going to do is this coach only serves Waco. So the first thing you do is you pick the location they serve. If they serve both, you wouldn't pick because it's up to the user. But we're going to pick Waco, and then we're going to hide the Waco field because there's no reason for them to pick anything else. Then this person only does basketball, and you'll notice that it doesn't say basketball like Travis or basketball Waco, because these are just singular categories that are in Bookly. We don't have to change those. We do choose the location, but we don't have to make basketball Waco basketball like Travis. So it's just a generic category called basketball. This is the only one that person does, so we're going to hide that field too. You can hide or unhide on any individual coach. You don't have to worry about a default value. So this is the type of basketball that they offer. If you don't know, it's set in that person's profile. Just leave it blank, because it'll only show the ones that person has selected, or that you have selected for them. And then the other thing is the default value. Jennifer is also listed as a Waco basketball person. So in this case, this is Mark's field. So we want to go ahead and set the default for Mark. We're not going to hide that field, but we're going to hide the others. And that's going to be the standard for every page. Again, if they serve both Waco, if they serve both Westlake and Lake Travis, and those are locations, well, you wouldn't hide it, but you could pick one by default if you wanted to. So now we're going to insert that code, and basically it's exactly what we already had in there. So I'll just erase the other code that was already in there, and we'll save it. I'll hit preview changes, and you'll see it should be the same thing we already saw before, where you pick the coach. So nothing really has changed. They would select so now it's telling you it doesn't show guard, because guard is not one of the ones that this person offers. So we pick basketball center, and that's already by default chosen. Then you go on as usual. Okay, so I also mentioned that this is a project, And it's a project. It's not a page. It's not a post. It's a project. Each individual coach is a project. You can see it there in the URL, and it'll be their name. It'll just be whatever their name is. Right now it's Test, Mark, Waco. It won't say basketball. So whatever their name is, and if they're a Waco coach, you'll select at least two things. One is all coaches in their city, whether Waco or Lake Travis, and you'll also select whatever their sport is or sports. If they have more than one, you would select more than one. So we're going to update that. Now I'm going to show you those project. So these are all the coaches. Each one is a project. But I'm going to show you the project categories here, and you'll see, like we just said, you'll pick. There's all coaches LT. There's all coaches Waco, and then. So for here, there's going to be a basketball LT, a basketball Waco. That's going to be the case. There'll be a basketball Houston. There's going to be a basketball for every city. So there'll be a lot of categories. This won't really be a thing that users see, but on the back end, there's going to be an individual basketball category for every city. It'll be alphabetized. We're suggesting the city go at the end so that you can have basketball all appear together, basketball, 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 and the city name. So the reason we have an all coaches in the city is because of right here. Let me go up here. So it's the search coaches in Waco. In Lake Travis, there's an all coaches, and it'll populate every coach because every one of these coaches is categorized as an all coach LT. This one's also lacrosse. This one's all coaches LT, but also baseball. So we can go up here and also go all coaches and just search basketball. So now it'll just filter for those that are, it should be just Lake Travis basketball is what that's showing now. So it's filtering for Lake Travis for Lake Travis and basketball. So here, Waco, it's going to show you all coaches Waco. And it just happens to be the same because Jennifer is marked as all coaches Waco and a basketball Waco coach. And Mark is too. So you kind of get the same result when you just filter for basketball. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Project categories we talked about. The staff members page has a new functionality in it. So we're looking at Mark. It's the location. So he is set as just Waco. You can set it to all locations or just one or the other. And so we have it as Waco there. I think Jennifer is the same thing that she is. No, she's all locations. So she'll show up in Lake Travis and Waco for basketball because basketball is her service. Let's see. So is it basketball? Yeah. Her services are basketball. Okay, so let's see. So I think we mentioned that these don't really change. So these are the book league categories. They don't really change because what we'll have people do is first pick their city. And then once they pick their city, they'll pick basketball, cheer, dance, whatever. If it's basketball, these are the possible basketball, I guess they're called services. I'm not sure what they're called. The categories are the big things over here. Okay, let's see. So here in the locations tab, you can see we have a new location called Waco. Mark and Jennifer are 2 of the 47. Jennifer is also listed as one of the Lake Travis, so that's why it's 46 out of 47 and not 45 out of 47. Okay, so the book a session page, we're kind of showing the before and after here. This page has, I think, let me refresh this. So the new functionality, which includes Waco, this is what this would be. This was the original one. So you can kind of ignore from right here for now. But anyway, you would select your location. Let's say we pick Waco, and you would then choose your sport. If you pick baseball, I'll see if we can change this, but if you pick baseball, there are no coaches in Waco right now that teach baseball, so it won't let you pick anyone. If you try to hit next, it'll say select a coach. It won't let you. So, of course, if we say like Travis in baseball, and you go to select a coach, there's a bunch of them. If we go to WACO and select basketball, let's see if we select guard, there's no coaches that teach guard, but there are coaches that teach center. So it's Mark and Jennifer. We're going to see if we can get past that, but basically that's how that functionality works under book session, and obviously we'll erase this other part down here. So this is going directly to the Bookly functionality. When you do the search coaches, this is just WordPress functionality that's using the categories. So it's showing anyone who's WACO basketball. Is marked as WACO or basketball WACO, or basketball LT. I'll show you this plugin here in a second. What else did we want to show you here? Oh, the camps and parties. We haven't really modified this very much. This ends up being the original camps and parties page. But you could actually break this out into Austin and WACO when you get to this point, when you actually have training camps that are just for Austin, or you could just have one page and list all of them by city, because your parties are sort of generic a little bit. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you make people pick first what city they want to be, whether it's training, camps, parties, clinics, etc. So you could do the same thing here. But anyway, we have this as the Austin version, and then there would also be a WACO version, but we don't have that built yet. I was going to show you the maps functionality for that plugin. Let me pause it and find it. This is it. Just says maps here, but it's called I think it's called or Google WP Maps. Maybe you can see it in the plugins. Until you purchase the Pro version, you only get the ability to create one of these. So we only have one for WACO right now. You'll need to buy a $39 plugin to be able to create a second one. But there's a couple things you can do. To me, I think there's this. So this tells you what the shortcode is that you drop into the coaches page. That little shortcode there can show you gets dropped in. It says, does this coach serve your area? You'll remember we're showing you this. Does this coach serve your area? That little map right there is that little snippet of code. And we'll make templates for this, but we actually add a little HR, which is a horizontal line underneath it. But that's that little plugin. I'm sorry, that little shortcode is what populates this. You can see it's set for WACO right now, and we only have one. We're calling it WACO radius, but it's that. You can set different things in here. You can zoom in and out. What we've done is, I don't think we don't have any markers. If you wanted to add a marker, you could do it. You could do it here. A little red pin drop. It gets a little messy. What we've just done is add a circle, we've added one little radius circle that lets you kind of stretch that according to. I'll show you real quickly. Because you can just draw it directly onto the map. But the way this works, this is sort of akin to a mile radius. So think of it as 18 miles, but you'll see if I change it to 20 or, whatever, let's say 29, the circle gets bigger. Okay. So think of that as miles. It's sort of like miles, but I kind of put it at 18 or 15 or whatever. And you can actually just drag the thing around to wherever you want it to be. If they're actually out here and you want it to be, and they're willing to drive further, well, then you can change 18,000 to 25,000, etc. Okay. But we'll need to buy another license for that, which I think, or we need to buy a license for $39 to let us create multiple maps with multiple codes. So one can be WACO, two can be Austin, etc. As part of the Pro upgrade. I'm going to pause and see if there's anything else. I'm just back in the staff members, so the Bookly staff members, just sort of a reminder that while you don't need to change, you don't need to update the sports and the activities are generic. So it'll be baseball. It won't be here. It's not related to the location. So if you're creating a new person or editing a person, you do need to indicate which location they're in. All the existing ones have already been updated, so they all say like Travis. And then, of course, you just go on to say whatever services they offer. You can have an individual be in 2 different locations. I guess we've already shown you that. And you can actually have unique service pricing per location, but I don't think you really need to mess with that. What else? Yeah, there's one other thing. I think we have a new template for this coach page. So which looks like this. So a little different from the previous one. So here's an existing one. I'll just preview it, but you can see that in the existing one, the layout's a little different. You got the red and the orange, which is the specialty section right here. And it looks like this. And this is basically thirds, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 with the blue background over here. We're going to have a new one because I think there's not enough room. We end up with a lot of white space here. We need more room for this booking functionality. So it's going to look more like this, where sort of 1/3 and 2/3. We still can put a background color behind this, and I might go in and do that. But just to say that this will be a new template going forward. So we might need to rebuild, push some of that content we have into this format. And I think that's it for now.